We're very much looking forward to having our students back for in-person instruction, but we understand that not all families are ready to make the move this year. We're going to spend the next few minutes explaining what the different options in Parkrose for K-5 students might look like so that parents and guardians can make informed decisions for their children. And yes, we will be asking you to make a decision very soon. If your child attends one of our preschool programs, their day may look a little different than what is presented in this video. So be prepared to receive further information from your child's preschool teacher. So what are the options as we move into the spring? First, the district is committed to continuing comprehensive distance learning, or CDL, for the rest of the school year. If you choose CDL, your child's online day will look similar to what they are doing now, with lessons from teachers on Seesaw or iReady. But there will be some differences depending on how many families choose CDL and how many choose a hybrid day. More on this in a moment. The other option is that students return to school for some in-person instruction, which is sometimes referred to as hybrid learning. We would love to be able to have kids in our buildings every day as usual, but in order to follow COVID-19 safety guidelines, students will need to come to school in smaller groups. In Parkrose, that means that students would spend some days during the week at school and other days at home, learning via teacher videos and Seesaw and iReady activities. We know that many families are wondering what the schedule will be for in-person learning. At this point in time, the district has not yet determined what schedule will work best within the safety guidelines. It may be that students spend 2 days at school and 3 days at home learning, or it may be that students are invited in for instruction in specific areas. This will depend on how many families choose in-person learning. What we can say with certainty is that whatever schedule is ultimately decided upon, we will ensure that siblings are on the same schedule. So now let's look at what to expect during the day for both the in-person and CDL options. When kids return to school, some things will look the same and some things will look different. For now, let's look at some of the things that will be new. All adults and children in grades kindergarten through 12th grade must wear a face covering or mask when on buses or school property. If your child does not have a face covering, we will provide one. If your student has a medical condition or disability that prevents mask wearing, the district will accommodate your child. What happens when students get on the bus and come into the buildings will look a little different too. If your child takes the bus, there will be some health screening questions that staff ask before they enter the bus. Students on the bus will also be seated farther apart. Before coming to school or getting on the bus, parents and guardians should also screen their children for COVID-19 symptoms at home. If students are displaying symptoms, then they should be kept at home and the school should be notified. Before entering the building, staff will again screen students visually for COVID-19 symptoms and by asking students or parents of younger children about any new symptoms including fever, cough, loss of sense of smell, taste, or shortness of breath. They will also ask if they have had recent close contact with someone who has tested positive for COVID-19. Staff will log this information daily to track groups in case of reported infection. If a student has symptoms or reports that they have been in close contact with a COVID-19 case, they will be isolated and guardians will be contacted to pick up the student. After screening, students will use hand sanitizer or wash hands immediately before they enter their classroom. Once in the classroom, students will stay with the same group of students and adults throughout the day. Within the classroom, things may look and feel a little different too. Furniture will be placed to encourage students to maintain 6 feet of distance between each other. Students may continue to use Chromebooks for some elements of instruction. Materials used for instruction will be assigned to individual students or cleaned between uses. Additionally, all high-touch areas will be cleaned regularly, and anytime students enter or leave a classroom space, they will be asked to wash their hands and/or use hand sanitizer. Because some teachers see all of the students in the building, music, art, or movement classes will continue to be delivered virtually in order to keep groups and teachers safe by following Oregon's safety guidelines for returning to school. Students may be eating lunch at school in the cafeteria with their class group. Because guidelines say that students cannot be in contact with more than 100 people in a week, we will limit the cafeteria to no more than 2 classes of 15 students at a time and maintain social distance. We know that kids need lots of movement. Time outside will be part of the school day, but may look a little different. Teachers will also continue to use Playworks games and activities to provide movement within the classroom too. If you or your child develop symptoms, have a confirmed or presumed case of COVID-19, or come into contact with a confirmed case, please contact the school. This is an important piece of tracking infections so that students can continue in school safely. In case of an exposure at school, you will be contacted by a staff member or nurse with directions for quarantine. Now let's look at what to expect if your child continues in CDL. Similar to our current distance learning, students will be working from home 5 days a week. Students will be assigned videos, lessons, and activities through Seesaw and iReady that will be monitored by a classroom teacher. What may be different is the amount of time that your child engages in face-to-face learning with a teacher, which is also known as synchronous learning. It may be similar to the current CDL timeframe, or it could be less time. This depends on how many families choose to stay in distance learning and the staffing that will be needed to provide CDL and in-person learning safely. Now let's talk about a delicate issue, which is teacher assignment. We would love for students to continue with their current teacher, but this may not be possible. So whether you choose CDL or hybrid, your child's teacher may change, and unfortunately, you will not be able to know if that is the case before you make the choice. Please understand the district's dilemma. We can't assign teachers to groups of students until we know exactly how many students will choose hybrid over CDL. We also ask that once decisions are made, families try to stay with their choice through the remainder of the school year to ensure consistency with groups and schedules. We know it's not ideal, but we also know that kids are amazingly resilient. Whatever setting you choose, teachers will do their very best to create an environment that focuses on relationships, belonging, and community while keeping your child on track to meet learning goals. So when will all of this happen? Well, we wish we could be more precise. There are lots of things to consider. Elementary staff are being vaccinated right now. This process should be completed by the end of March. Input is being gathered from staff in the community, and the district is working on ensuring that everything is in place to meet the state's safety protocols. The Parkrose School Board voted to remain in CDL until the end of March. Given what we know, we don't anticipate starting any form of in-person instruction until the beginning of April. Our school board will review the survey responses and help determine what is the best support for students to finish the 2021 school year. We hope to have a decision made by the week of March 15th. That being said, there's lots of work to be done between now and then. It's a monumental task, so we need all parents to make a choice. Will your students stay in distance learning for the remainder of the school year, or will they begin in-person hybrid learning when it's safe to do so? It's not an easy choice, but we will support all students and families in deciding what is best for their children. We understand that this video may leave you with lots of questions. Know that as we get more answers from the community, and as changes to state guidance are released, we will do our best to keep families up to date. A survey will be sent out shortly to all families, allowing you to indicate the choice for your child: comprehensive distance learning or in-person hybrid learning. It will be available in multiple languages. If you cannot access the survey, you may request a paper copy by calling the district office at 503-408-2100 or by contacting your school's office. We ask that you complete the survey by March 13th, 2021. Together we will get through this and look forward to the day when we can welcome all of our amazing Parkrose students and staff back into our buildings.